First things first, I believe I have 2 or maybe 3 of Cliff's latest Bitcoin specific webbot thing he just released the other day, a few days ago, that he's not, it's not a webbot report. It's strictly Bitcoin. There will be no summary whatsoever on those. But he did tell me somebody, I guess, somewhere paid for me to have it was either 2 or 3. I want to say 3. I'll reread his email. Leave a comment in the comment section of this video if you would desperately like to have this Bitcoin / cryptocurrency, which also includes gold and silver, I think, in there as well, report. Again, I'll select some people randomly or whatever, and I will send it your way. Now, having said that, the main reason I'm doing this video, Bitcoin is $1,476 right now, May 2nd, 8:35 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Did the webbot say the next stop, there was going to be some crocodile teeth happening with Bitcoin, right? Up, down, up, down, up, down. On its way to the next stop after the last one he said, which I think was 1293 or 1297 or... No, I think it was 1279, which we hit. Then it came back down and it bounced around. And then, oh, Bitcoin's going to branch and it's going to split off. Oh, my gosh, it's down to 1,000 or 900 something. Back up again, 1,200. 1,476. The next stop that Cliff I talked about was breaching 14. And correct me if I'm wrong. I'm going off my memory. I don't have anything open in front of me to read. 1444? Wasn't it 1444 or somewhere around there? 14 something? I want to say 1444. Not that it matters. We're at 1476 right now as I'm doing this video. Web bot hit again. I've had a couple emails recently. Man, Jay Snip, one of them told me, and I may have read you this one the other day. I work for minimum wage. I took one of my paychecks, the entire check, and bought some alt currency. I think they bought some Ripple and Ethereum maybe, or one or the other or both. They said when I was listening to you, I say he, it may have even been a she, I don't remember. They said I was listening to you and Cliff and all that, and man, I just said, you know what, I gotta do it. Webbot's been right about this stuff, and I did it, and man, am I glad, because it is up big time right now. Just want to say thanks. Not a problem, my friend. That's why I do these videos. That is why I do these videos. So this report, I think, cost $99 from Cliff I, halfpasthuman.com. However, I just bought, didn't I not just tell you several days ago I bought another Bitcoin? I think I might have mentioned that. That was when it was 1,200 something. I just made $200. Maybe even more than that, I don't know. A few days ago. Just pocketed a cool 200 on a $1,200 investment, so to speak. Don't ask me why the timing with precious metals and some other things the webbot just does not get. I don't have an answer. I just don't know. But it is so unbelievably accurate with Bitcoin, it still boggles my monkey mind. So again, 1476. Dash coin's back up in the 90s again. Speaking of which, Dash coin USD. Where are we at currently? Any day now. Oh, you're taking too long. Next site. $86. It was 92, I think, earlier today. Ethereum. Ethereum coin USD. What do we have here? Is that 77? Is that? Oh, that's a, wait a minute. Well, this site's a little slow. Yeah, it is. 77. $77 Ethereum. Anyone remember? Let's see how far I got back. Oh, I can go back a year. And I want to remind you. Cliff High said about a year ago, Ethereum is in the data, altcoin, it's in the data, and it was showing up. I think he said something similar like, it's kind of showing up like a Feathercoin or Litecoin or whatever it kind of did when they came out. So there's good talk, good words, data. I'm expecting them to maybe perform like those things did. So in other words, they'll do well, but they're not Bitcoin. But you're going to be happy owning them. Well, let's see how happy you would be owning them. As of May last year, 2016, it was $9.32. And then it quickly went to 13, 14, 12, 13, 11, 10, 12, 14. It just hovered around there. Then as we got towards the end of the year, excuse me, 10, still 10, 11, 9, 8, 7, 8, 7, 8, 10, 9. We started in January 2017. It's 11, 12, 14 in February, 19 in February, 23 in March, 42 in March, 50 in March, 48, back down a little bit, 43, back up again in April 10th. It's $48 on April 10th. That was less than that was 3 weeks ago. Then all of a sudden, April 17th, it's $51. I think you need to look at this chart. If I'm to be perfectly honest with you, you need to look at this chart. And this is specifically, hold on, here we go. This is Ethereum. Right here, April the 17th, $51. It jumps and jumps. April 24th. So 17th to the 24th, just a few days, it's up to 90, 80, well, this thing's kind of messing me up here. Where we got? 82, $84, somewhere around there. And currently it's at 77.80, $77.81. Let's do the math. $10, okay? $10 times 8, which is 800% return, in case you're wondering, equals $80 right here. Now, again, it's 84, 82, it's now 77, whatever. We're rounding off to $80 on this one. So, if you had $10,000, in this case, in Ethereum, you would have 80,000, excuse me, $80,000. And if you played this even as early as 2017 January, if you're in on it at $10, 9.7, $10, whatever. Again, we'll round off 10, $11. You got in 4 stinking months ago. Which, we just entered the 5th month, so whatever, 4 months ago. 10 times 8, 80. And I understand the pain side of things when you say that's what silver and gold should be doing. But silver and gold are manipulated, as we know, currently. I do expect it to end, and I think it's going to end spectacularly. And we're going to, those of us who have been absolutely patient over these years are going to be extremely happy when it goes down. However, the gambling side of playing the market, so to speak, for me, as I said, Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies. I almost, and I talked about this earlier this year, I told you, I was on Coinbase.com. This is when I bought my 6th Bitcoin, not my 7th one, which I got recently. As in like a week ago, I told you. It was around the time I got my 6th, and I was there, and I was just looking at it. And I was like, do I want to pull the trigger? I want to say, I felt like, for some reason, was that March? Maybe it was, I don't know. Like, something's just telling me it was like around $20. When I saw it was 20 or $22, something like that. And I'm like, do I want to do that, or should I just go ahead and pull the trigger on Bitcoin? Another Bitcoin. That's the one that Cliff High talks about, massively skyrocketing, ultimately. And again, these other coins will do well, he said. But the one that kind of stays there and is always there and always, always performs, it's going to be, it's going to be the gold of everything, so to speak, in crypto land, is Bitcoin. So on that note is why I decided, let me just pull the trigger on the Bitcoin. And since then, as you know, it was $900, the little bouncing around 900,000, 1,200, back down again, back up now to 1,400. Great. My investment is up. However, in all fairness, $22 Ethereum, I could have got, if I would have spent the same money, the same exact amount of money on Ethereum at that moment, instead of the Bitcoin, at $20, I would have had a 400% profit at this point. That's okay. I'm not here to day trade or mess around anyways. I'm going to buy my Bitcoin and hang on to them. I don't have any other coin at the moment. I was this close to getting some Ripple, but I'm like, oh, you got to exchange this for that one and do that. I'm like, why can't it just be easy like Bitcoin? Why can't I just go to a simple exchange, Coinbase? I can pick this, or this. Nope. You go to Coinbase and you pretty much can only pick Ethereum or Bitcoin. That's it. Which is okay, because again, in this example, that could have been it. So Webbot, right again on two fronts. It said to get some Ethereum a while back. It was going to do well. It also very recently talked about Ripple coin. It's going to jump real soon, he said. Very soon. I think he even gave the dates and times. Got emails confirming, hey, Joe, good call on that, man. It's up significantly from when I got in at. Oh, no problem, buddy. So we got Ripple coin, Ethereum, Bitcoin. All correct hits again from the Webbot. So that's why I'm doing the video. It's kind of a short video. That's it for today. Webbot right again. And I love it when it's right on financial stuff like this. I just wish it would be right on the timing with gold and silver finally. That's where I'm at. Hurry up. But as I was telling Frank today at lunch, I said when our food comes out, we should say a prayer above our food, not for the food, but for JP Morgan, to JP Morgan, for allowing us to have all these years to buy it cheap. Because while we were upset years ago and we had, X amount of silver stashed at that time, we've had a few years now extra bonus time to buy more, and we've bought some more. So now when it happens, it'll be even more fantastic. So I said we have to, look at both sides, because if it would have exploded back then and way back when, maybe, since then now I doubled the amount of silver I had, roughly, let's say. It's hovering around 17, 18 bucks. Fantastic. I'll keep getting more. So speaking of Frank, we did a little trial run today, and I've had this little GoPro Hero 3 for a long time. I had a little black quadcopter that I was going to try to make a big slow flyer with big propellers. Did not work out. Sitting over here in a box, tons and parts and pieces of this thing sit in the box, but it came with this too. So I'm like, well, these are that kind of bubbly, the action cams. These are all like bubbly, so you can get a nice wide view. I said, man, I could just set this right at the end of the table. Maybe cock it up a little bit, put one of the little drink coasters, right there. And we'll have lunch with Frank and Joe. Once, twice a week, whatever it is. We'll start recording. Of course, I'll edit out us stuffing our faces and whatever. But before the food comes, we're going to chat. After the food comes, we're going to chat about whatever. So we did a little trial run today. And apparently, the audio doesn't record real loud. So when I edit it, all I have to do is up the volume. And I played it back, and it actually sounded okay. Yeah, there's ambient noise. I'm in a restaurant with him. But, people have been asking about that. So it's about to go down is what I'm telling you. So anyways, I'm done with this video. And on to the next, my friends.